Should we have an intro?
This is our podcast intro.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to His Podcast. I'm Oscar. This is my sister, Sofia. This is our podcast. It's called the His Podcast. HTS, no I. Not going to tell you why. Oh, that fucking bars. Anyways, we just talk about stuff and tell stories and catch up. Thank you for being here.
And I annoy him.
And that's it. Goodbye. Just kidding.
It's funny. When
Sofia.
I do this, the little thumbs up thing appears.
Yeah. That's on the FaceTime, but it's not on the phone, so nobody knows what you're talking about. So now you're just wasting our time. Sofia, I told Sofia right now, I was like, hey, did you see my story? And she was like, nah. And then I was like, go watch it. And then she went and watched it. This is what happened. I'm going to show a picture right here, right? Last week, Sofia was like, big back. And I was like, shut up. And she was like, sorry, not very demure of me. And then I was like, I don't know what that fucking means. I was like, I don't know what that fucking means. And she started laughing her ass off. She was like, you're not on TikTok? And I was like, I'm not on TikTok like that no more. I was like, I just keep seeing everybody say it. I got to burp. Hold on.
Ew.
I was like,
that was not very demure.
I just keep seeing everybody
wasn't
say
very
it.
Mindful or cutesy.
Shut up. I keep hearing everybody say it, and I don't know what the fuck it means, because I'm not on TikTok like that no more, right? And she started laughing at me. Whatever, right? All I know is everybody keeps calling things demure.
Demure.
I honestly don't even know what the word means, but I can put it together.
Because you're not demure.
It's a good word, right? Anyways, I posted the picture, which I'm putting up again right now, of a new shaker bottle that I got. And I was like, very demeanor or whatever the kids are saying, right? It was funny. I liked it. I tagged the company. I'm sure they're going to see it, right? Because I've posted shit on my story before, and then they see it and they like it, and I feel cool.
Okay.
Anyways.
And I feel cool.
So then, here's the other thing. Quick side note. I told Sofia, go watch my story.
Oh, yeah.
And then she went and watched it, and she was like, very demure, or whatever the kids say. And I was like, that is not what that fucking word is, dude.
It's because I didn't finish reading it. I just saw the DE, and like my mind was like, oh, he's doing demure, because I just went to the next line already, which is like, or whatever the kids are saying. You know what I mean? So I didn't even finish reading it. And then I went back to read it again, and I was like, oh, that doesn't say demure. Demure.
You're such an idiot. She go, very demure. Demure, I think is what she said. And I was like, that's not what that means, you fucking asshole. And she was like, wait, oh, demeanor. And then she started laughing, right? I wasn't laughing. Anyways, Sofia responded to my story. She was like, ooh, very cutesy.
Very mindful.
Which I assume is part of the demure. Demure?
It's demure.
I assume it's part of the thing. Because I know how trends work. I just don't necessarily keep up with them, right? So she responded. She was like, very cutesy, very mindful. Right? Then I just told her right now, my friend responded to it too. And he goes, see, he has a shaker bottle now. Very gym bro. Very ... I don't know what the fuck else he said. But Sofia's laughing a lot. I know what gym bro is, because that word's been around a long time. But I'm assuming this is like one of those piggyback trends where it's like a variation of the original trend. Because I don't know what he's going to say next after gym bro. But Sofia's already laughing. And I feel very old. You know why I also feel old?
And I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to let you
I'm
going to let you be confused.
Sofia, I did one of the oldest things I've ever done this week.
You asked for someone to help you cross the street?
Shut up. For real? I'll be watching the video back when I'm editing it, and then I hear myself to go, shut up, to Sofia, like that, in that tone. And I'm like, I sound like such a little bitch, bro.
Because you are a bitch.
I sound so bratty and bitchy, and I fucking hate it. And I'm like, I don't hear myself like that when I do it. And then I'm like, it's because Sofia brings that shit out of me. She fucking drives me crazy. You know what I mean?
It's because if you're going to be like
say it like that.
Oh my God. How?
I'm going to say it like that so I could be a fucking man. Shut up. Anyways.
You just sound stupid now.
Let me tell you what happened.
So dumb.
I had work, right? And they make us do a little icebreaker every morning. Like, right? Oh, I'm going to say that too. Remind me, Mexican. Not right now. There was an icebreaker.
Mexican?
And they were like, it was yesterday, I think. And they were like, all right, to wrap up the end of the first week, we're going to do, what's one thing you learned, what's one thing you're looking forward to, and what's an interesting you're doing this weekend, right? Everybody said the same bullshit. I happened to be second to last, so I had to come up with stuff that people didn't already say. And They were like, what's an interesting thing you're doing this weekend? And I was about to say I didn't have shit to do this weekend, but we just went to Amber and Diego's new house yesterday, and I totally didn't think of that on
that's
Friday when
honestly,
I had to say
I didn't even remember. Like, I knew that they got a new house, but when you said you were with Amber and Diego, for whatever reason in my head, like you were still at their like old apartment. You know what I mean? I didn't even realize it was like it didn't click. Yeah. You know? How was it? Was it cool?
Hold on. We're getting sidetracked, and this is going to be really hard to clip if we get too sidetracked, because I already have 3 things going on. This is what I said. They were like, Oscar, what are you looking forward to this weekend? I was like, I'm going to go mattress shopping because I'm going to buy a new mattress, and mine kind of sucks, and I'm looking forward to it, right? And one of literally the oldest lady in the call chimes in.
Was like,
she was like, that's how you know you're an adult right there. I was like, yeah, I kind of felt weird because I was like, I feel pretty old saying this, but I don't want to offend anybody.
You're on the right track to being a wise old man,
Mom
if
called
you're
me
already
an old
wise
soul the
now,
other day.
who called you?
Called me an old soul. Mom called me an old soul the other day, and I was like a little offended. I was like, that's an insult. And then I was like,
an insult?
Fucking, cause I feel like that's just a nice way of saying you're a loser that cares too much.
No, I feel like that's
hold on.
a nice
I
way
didn't say what I'm gonna say because I'm gonna forget.
Jeez, why do you have such a shitty memory?
You would just say he's mature. He's very mature. Nah, I think people only call you mature when you're really young.
I feel like you're too old to be called mature now. You know what I mean? Because you should be mature. Yeah. But like,
so it's like,
so old soul. You're wise.
But she said it.
Wise beyond your years.
I started thinking about it, and I was like,
I've
never viewed myself as an old soul. But I started thinking about it. I was like, am I an old fucking soul? Like, I always thought I was just a nerd. You know what I mean? Or like a loser. Like we were talking about, I got to get up early. My shift starts at 6 a.m, right? So I get out at 3. Pretty chilling. But I have to wake up at 5:30. And I was like, nah, I can't be staying up late because then I'm going to stay up late. I'm not going to be able to fall asleep until late. And then I'm going to have to wake up early. I'm going to be all fucked up. Mm-hmm. And then Ismael was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then he was like, and you too, you have to get up early. He turned to Perkins, and Perkins was like, I just wake up. Like I'll just get up after 4.5, 5 hours, and like that's how I reset my clock. Which I think that's more of a thing you can do when you don't have trouble sleeping. But still, I was like, I can't do that shit, bro. That shit fucks me up. Like,
yeah, Oscar. If Oscar doesn't get enough sleep, he's cranky.
Don't get me started on this shit, bro. This is not a conversation I want to have. Anyways, back to being Mexican. We had an activity. I told you, remind me Mexican.
Oh, Oscar. Oh, I wrote it down and everything. Remember, Mexican. You're Mexican.
Did you put an arrow pointing at me?
Yeah. Look.
Accountant, stripper. I already know about that. Anyways, there was an activity that we did this week on the thing, right? And they were like, all right, this activity is called Me Too. And I was like, too soon, right? But this is how the activity goes. You're supposed to state a fun fact about yourself. And then when someone shares that fact, they're supposed to chime in and go, me too, right? I was born in Alabama. Someone comes in and says, me too. And then they're like, I like the Jaguars. And then someone comes in and they say, me too. And I cannot lie.
No other person can't deny.
That's pretty good. I should have said that. Anyways, this one lady goes and she was like, oh, I have 2 sons. Nobody said shit, right? And that's the worst part is when you give your interesting fact and nobody fucking relates to it. Like, they're like, I have 2 sons. Nobody said shit. And then she was like, I am from New York. Nobody said shit, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And then she says this. She goes, okay, well, someone will relate to this one. That's how she prefaces the new fact, right? And she goes, I'm of Hispanic descent. And I was like,
me too.
Bitch, I know you're talking about me and the one other dude that's brown in this fucking meeting. Brown
She's
with
like,
black
I
hair.
Heard your voices. You have an accent.
But she said it out loud. Well, no, she could see our names in our faces when our team's meeting. But still, she was like, so, okay, because she was kind of, I guess, like everybody gets a little discouraged when they say something and then nobody relates to it. You feel like a loser, right? So she was like, all right, well, someone's gonna get this one. And she was like, I'm of Hispanic descent. And then I fucking, me too. Because I I don't want to wait for another one, right?
Yeah.
But I was a little offended. I was like, bitch, you knew it was me and this guy. Like, and he sent me too, but I beat him to it, so I got to go first.
What did you say?
Anyways, I said like 4 different things. I was like, all of them were from like North Carolina, Florida, kind of generally Southern. And I was like, I was born in Alabama. Everybody in my family makes fun of me. I had already mentioned that I was from Texas. I was like, I was born in Alabama, though my family is from Texas. They all make fun of me. Anyone else? And then everyone was like,
crickets.
And then I was like, I have 2 sisters.
Crickets.
Nothing. And I don't even remember what I said that someone finally related to. Like,
you were just like, anything. Damn, that Mexican one was a good one.
I don't remember what I said. I don't remember. Yeah. Here's that thing. Here's the thing. That lady, from what I can tell, I don't know where the fuck the Hispanic is. You know what I mean? Like, but anyways.
Mexicans can be white tone too.
Nah, but she doesn't look Mexican. She don't talk Mexican. Her name isn't Spanish. You know what I mean? Like,
she's of Mexican heritage.
Way up there.
You know?
I don't know.
It goes way back.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. It doesn't. None of that shit really matters.
Nah, she saw it on like Ancestry, whatever. She's like,
yeah.
You're 2% Mexican.
6 generations. It seems like if I had to guess, I would guess it's that type of situation. Mm-hmm. But nah, I'm just kidding. It could be her mom is Mexican, but she has her dad's name in it.
Yeah.
Anyways, shit, we've gone through like 6 topics. So back to the topic. My friend just responded to my Demure story saying some shit. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. But I'm just gonna like it and be like,
you're like, thanks.
Don't say it.
Please explain it to me. Okay, it was funny. The other day, mom was talking about...
It better be funny.
Huh?
It better be funny.
Oh, it's funny to me. If you don't laugh, then like, I'll laugh anyways. It's okay.
I dropped my water.
Anyways,
That's the spirit. I can't even hate on that.
Mom was like talking about finances, right? She was like, oh yeah, because she's thinking about like getting a car or whatever. And so she's like, no, yeah, she was like saying, she's like, I think if I save up this money from here to now, like it should be good. And then this and that. And she's like, and I was talking to my accountant, and then I stepped in and I was like, you go watch strippers, Mom? You talk to strippers? And she was like, what? Like, what? She was so confused. And I was like, yeah, you haven't heard of like the like accountant stripper song? And she was like,
it was more of an OnlyFans thing.
And she was like, what? Well, it's kind of like, it actually hold on, we'll get to that. And she was like, but her and Big Oscar, because our dad was there too. She was
so like,
they were like, what the fuck are you saying? I said accountant, like, and I was like, you haven't like said that? It's a song. It's like, I'm an accountant. No one asks you what you do when you're an accountant. I'm really butchering the song, but that's okay. The point is, like, they're like, where do you work? I'm an accountant. Or no, what do you do? I'm an accountant. Where do you work? At a place where accountants work. Nobody asks you what you do when you say you're an accountant. And then it's like, it's just funny because it's like, and it's like, where are you getting all this money from? I'm an accountant. Like, that's why I have so much money. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
all people know is that it's complicated and
and deals with money. Yeah, literally. And so it like kind of went like, it blew up on TikTok. I don't think it's still super, super relevant, but like maybe like last year.
It was a thing a little while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really funny. And like I brought it up and then they were like, wow. I was like, wait. And then I got I looked for I just put, I think, accountant equals stripper on the TikTok bar. And then like a bunch of videos popped up. And then I clicked on one and I went to the sound.
You literally wrote accountant equals stripper.
I typed out equal. Thank you very much. Anyways.
Ooh, never mind. It's not funny.
Anyways. And I went to the sound. And apparently the song was originally written for actors. That's how like the beginning of the song goes. But the clip that blew up on TikTok was just that one clip that like I was like singing. You know what I mean? And it starts off like, I'm an actor, but nobody like takes that job shit. Like something, but I was like, oh, this song's actually like, about actors.
The original song was telling actors to claim to be accountants.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know that. And I was like, interesting. I was like, well, anyways, everyone on TikTok was like, no, not actors. Strippers.
Nobody cares.
OnlyFans. But yeah. And then I said that, right? And we laughed. And I was like, so yeah, that's why when you were saying you were talking to an accountant, I was like, you talk to strippers? And then she just laughed and she's like, your brother is roommates with a stripper. Because Perkins is an accountant.
Perkins is an accountant. Perkins is my roommate. We've mentioned him many times on here if you haven't seen the episodes. He's my roommate. His name's Perkins. He's an accountant.
Roommate. Anyways.
Accountant. For real? It would be really interesting and funny to me to actually meet someone and like be getting to know, like whether mutual friends, this, that, whatever, and ask them what they do. And they're like, oh, I'm an accountant, because they're actually trying to fucking play me like that. Because you guys don't know, I was a financial advisor. I studied finance. I work in wealth management. I was an advisor, not anymore. Now I still work in wealth management, but it's just a different thing. So I know what the fucking accountant is. Finance is about as close to accounting as you can get without being accounting, right? So if I meet a girl and I'm like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, I'm an accountant. And in her head, she's like, that's the end of that conversation. I'm going to be like, oh, are you a CPA?
And then she can be like,
and she's, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, do you work in audit? Do you work in tax? Do you work in consulting? Do you work for one of the big four? You know what I mean? Like,
you're going to put her on blast? Damn.
Tell me more, right?
Yeah.
And she's going to like, I feel like that type of girl in that situation would be like if I'd be like, oh, are you a CPA? And she'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, oh, cool. How were the tests? Right? Or how'd you do them? Or did you pass the first time? And then she just bullshit her way through it. Like, it was pretty hard, but I got through it. And I'll be like, what are you working?
And that's like, where it's like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I have a roommate. He works in tax. Whatever. And she'll be like, oh, yeah, me too. And I was like, yeah, he works for one of the big four. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'd be able to fucking...
You're just jargon. Like, see, how much you can slip up. Or how you can make her slip up type of thing.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious.
That's funny.
And then eventually...
You should start asking...
She'd admit it, and I'd be like, I knew it, bitch.
You should start asking your roommate these questions. Are you sure he's actually an accountant? He says he goes to bed early.
He is locked away in his room all day.
Mm-hmm. Suspicious. Anyways.
I'm gonna burst in one day. Just, what are you doing? Oh, fuck. Just kidding.
Stupid. Speaking of stupid, and our parents, they're not stupid. But, because I realized how it sounded, because I was like, speaking of stupid,
I was like,
and our parents, I was like,
very clearly, like,
not that. I don't remember what I was doing. Is the story that I was telling you, like, I wanted to tell you something, but I remember the point of the story, but I don't remember how we got to there. So I'm just going to bullshit our way there. I was doing something annoying. That's me bullshitting. I'm pretty sure I was doing something annoying, to be fair, though. But I was doing something annoying, right? And then Bigo, our dad, he was like, oh, you stupid asshole. And I was like, moi? I was like,
moi?
I was like, damn. Not even just one or the other. I'm both. Like, why do I gotta be both in this situation? I was like, I'd rather just be an asshole than a stupid asshole. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I can get behind being an asshole. I cannot get behind being stupid. Therefore, asshole. Right? And then he was like, if anything, you're more stupid than an asshole. And I was like, ah! I was like, that's rude. And not true. But yeah. Anyways, I thought it was funny. Little tidbit.
So, why do you call you a stupid asshole?
I don't remember. I was trying to remember.
That's what you were telling me earlier?
Yeah.
She was telling me we were on the phone before we started recording. She was like, fuck, I have this story, but I only remember the funny part.
Yeah. Honestly, it was probably something with mom. Because usually, like, me and Big O will gang up on mom. Right? And like we'll tease her. But every now and then, like I'll switch up, you know? Like we'll be like, he'll be like, geez, like, why do you're always on the phone or like whatever. And then like I'll be like not shitting. Like we trash talk a lot, but like it's with love, you know? I'm like, yeah, mom, like why are you doing that? And then she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. She'll say like whatever. And then Big O will come back again like, oh, and you do this too. And then Mom was all like, oh, what? And then I was like, yeah, Big O, that's too far. Like, don't take it that far. Don't be mean to my mom like that. And you know what I mean? So I like switch up sides like all last minute. And then my mom's like, yeah, see? And then I'll tell my mom, it's so funny. I like saying this. And I get it from Big O because Big O says it a lot. I'm like, I'm the only person who loves you in this house, Mom. I'm like I'll be like,
I say that.
We say that because of Big O, because he says it.
Well,
anyways.
I say I'm the only child that loves you.
What's it called?
No. What I say I'm the only one that likes spending time with you.
What's it called? And then that's so fucked up. But no, yeah, and we'll be like, I'll be like, I'm the only one in this house that loves you, or I'll say like, I should have known you're the only one in this house that loves me, Mom. They go so mean to me, and I'll like say stupid shit like that. So like it was something like that, but I can't remember what exactly it was. And he's like, shut up, stupid asshole. And then that's when I was like, oh. Yeah. I don't know.
And my dad's one of these like real rough around the edges with everybody.
Yep. But
even with my mom, where he's not necessarily like all super cutesy with her all the time. But if we are like making fun of my mom or giving her a hard time or whatever, he gets all fucking like, you guys are so mean to her.
No, like, but the thing is, he'll start it, and then we jump on.
Yeah.
Like, and then he's like, "Yo, it was funny when I was doing it, not with you guys too."
Yeah,
That's too
much. He'll do that shit. I love telling him lately. I love telling him because every time he complains about something that I do, I'm gonna be like,
I do it because of you.
That's how you raised me, bro. I literally like, because we'll be making jokes and talking shit, or he'll say something and then we'll riff off of it, and then he's like, you guys are so fucking annoying. Like, why can't you guys, like, why do you guys always have to fucking jump in and fucking keep the joke going and fucking this and that?
The thing is,
and we're laughs. Like, that's how you raised us.
The thing, he laughs that's how he laughs during it, but then once he sees, because it gets, because then my mom, like, she's like, you're so annoying, and she'll walk away. But the thing is, she won't get mad at us. Like, she won't get mad at me or Oscar or our sister. She gets mad at our dad. So he's like taking the brunt of her anger. And so he's like,
he's like, why do you guys join in?
Yeah.
He's like, why do you guys join in on my mama's?
Yeah.
And then we're always like, that's how you raised us, bro. Like,
and you're laughing.
These are habits.
These are habits positive and encouragement or whatever.
You instilled, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then would it be shit like that? He's like, fuck, I always have to say some stupid shit and fuck it all up. And then you guys always have to join in like fucking idiots.
And but the thing is, he knows it's funny. Like, he laughs, but then he's like, fuck, like, he's all annoyed because it's funny, and he laughs, and it makes it worse for him later.
Yeah.
But, speaking of, because it was funny, you had said something and it reminded me of this. Bruh, I didn't know, my dad, he's, what's it called? He's like he's not technically my biological dad, but he's like my dad, right? And he kind of came into, when did he start living with us? Kind of what? Like when I was in seventh grade?
I was like 11 or so. So you're like 9.
I was like 9. Right? So he started coming in, but our mom never told us. Like, she's like, oh yeah, I'm dating. Like, I knew who he was because he would pick up Oscar. You know what I mean? Like, and he was nice. And like on Christmas, he'd give me a gift.
He's my biological father.
Yeah.
That's why he would pick me up. I would go to his house on the
No, he would just kidnap him. He has no relations to Oscar at all. Anyways. So he would come. And like, I didn't know why he was there. Like, or no. He would come, he would pick up Oscar. But then they started like dating, right? And so he would come more often, not just the weekends. But I didn't know why he was there. And so like, he used to
strictly show up on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
I would leave.
Yeah.
He'd show up again Sunday afternoon. I'd come back. But he wouldn't necessarily like get off and mingle or anything. Like, he just pull up in the driveway.
And the only time that he would get off and mingle is if there was something in the house that was like broken. You know what I mean? Like, one time the hot water wasn't working. And so he came, fixed that, and then he left. So the only times I saw him was pick up a drop off with Oscar, or something was broken, right? Very logical. And so they started dating, but Mom
No, but even
didn't
then,
tell
that
us.
was when they were already kind of like getting back together and shit.
Well, I didn't know that in my head.
Yeah, but
you know?
Yeah, go ahead.
And so he started coming just to like come, and I would always ask him, I'm like, why are you here? Like, because every time I would say like, why are you here? It's because something was broken. So I was trying to figure out, I was like, What was broken?
She
The
means
water's
what's broken.
hot. Yeah, I was like, the water's running hot.
The light turns on.
The light turns on. The washer washes. The dryer dries. Like, what's wrong? Like, you know what I mean? And
she's like, what's the problem?
What's
There's
the problem?
a mystery here.
And then he would always just say something like, just here to hang out, like something along those lines, or like just, you know. But I kept, because he would keep coming, because, you know, they were like dating or whatever. But I would keep asking him, like, why are you here? Why are you here? And eventually he told my mom. He was like, she keeps asking me why I'm here. Does she not like me? Like, what? Like, what's going on? And I remember mom pulled me off to the side and she was like, stop asking him that. Like, it's rude. Like, that's rude. Don't say that. And I was like, geez.
But it was like a typical childish, like she didn't know
yeah,
why it was rude.
I really
had, I mean? Like,
I had no idea. Yeah, I was just
she
like,
didn't understand the nuance of phrasing and shit.
Yeah, and also they didn't explain. Like, they never told me why he was here.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay. Yeah. And eventually, fast forward, he like starts like living there, you know? And eventually, like years later already, like too long later, me and my mom are driving to go to the store. And I turn and I look at her and I'm like, are you and Big Oscar dating? Like,
he had already been living
with us for years. And then she just started laughing. And she's like, yes, like, why else do you think he's living with us? And I'm like, I don't know. And she was like, why did you think we weren't dating? And I was like, well, because they're weird and they don't ever do like any kind of PDA. You know what I mean? And so I was like, well, you never hold. Well, I was like, you never hold hands, and he like never kisses your cheek, or like you guys never kiss, like.
That was the big thing that mom tells where mom tells the story. She was like, that Sofia was like, it's because like he never even like holds your hand or anything.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, what kind of relationship do you have where he doesn't even
like,
hold
this
your
isn't
hand?
romance, fucking.
And then we were telling the story again recently, or like a couple months ago. Recently within the year, not recently within the month. Anyways, and we were at a restaurant, we were like telling the story again, and he was like, no, it's because your mom hates me. It's not that, because I was giving him shit. I was like, yeah, Big O, like, why don't you ever hold her hand? Like, do you not love her? You know? And then he's like, no, she won't let me. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, look. And he grabbed her hand. And she was like she was holding it just like to like show like, nuh-uh, you know? And then we started talking about something else, and right away she let go. And then he was like, look, see? And I was like, oh. And then we just started like, we were like, geez, Mom, you don't even love him. You don't even hold his hand. You don't even this and that. I was like, this whole time I thought it was because Big O never held your hand and Big O never. But really, it's because of you. Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was funny. Made me laugh. Made me go, ha ha ha. You know? That's a
classic in our family.
It was a classic, yeah. But now.
Oh, we were just talking about.
It's funny, like recently, as in like, ever since we graduated high school, or I graduated high school because I'm the youngest. Now,
I was going to say, that was 7 years ago, bro.
That was not 7 years ago.
Yes, it was. For me?
For me, not you. Anyways.
Okay, that's why I said for me.
Anyways, they kiss each other goodnight, and it's still weird. No, when did they didn't do that right after graduating high school. They started doing it like a couple years ago, maybe.
Eventually, after like fucking almost 10 years of being back together, they started on occasion acting like they're together. Couple? You know what I mean?
And it's like, so gross.
Where it'll only be on like, it'll be on like holidays and shit where like it's all like everybody's all Merry Christmas, and then she'll come and then they'll just like bleh, like that. But it's like,
and it's so funny because they'll do that, and like that's a very normal like couple thing, like to like kiss like on the cheek or even like on the lips or whatever. But like whenever they do that, it's funny because me and Oscar, if we're both there or just one of us, if it's only one of us, we'll be like, ew, like gross. Like, yeah, it's funny.
It's fucking hilarious.
No, yeah. I just thought it was funny. I don't know what you said, but something that you had. Oh, that you're saying like that they're not very lovey-dovey. And I was like, they're not. 9-year-old me was so confused. I was getting yelled at for nothing.
Fucking hilarious.
I
was like,
honestly,
what do you want, bro?
I thought he was a handyman. Like, straight up, I thought he was like Oscar's dad and a
Hired,
handyman.
like-
you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, that's it. And if he wasn't coming on the weekends, it wasn't for Oscar, which means he was here for handyman business, you know?
And you were like, it's a Wednesday. What are you doing?
Yeah,
here, bro?
literally. I was just like, something's not right with that.
Oh, yesterday I was showing Ismael was cut. Not yesterday, 2 days, like whatever. Went Friday or some shit. Ismael was cutting my hair, and that motherfucker.
I knew you just
I
got a
hope he sees
haircut. I
this.
asked him, I was like, did you cut your hair recently?
Yeah, I didn't answer
And he
you,
didn't
but
answer.
Anyways, that motherfucker. I realized this after the fact, which is how I know it worked. I hope you see this. You know how hairdressers and barbers, well, I guess more so stereotypically hairdressers, like Gossip
talk?
Central, and they just talk and try and make conversation.
You
and
were
ask you about
gossiping
this
with
and
Ismael?
how's that and where do you blah 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 blah. Right? I hate that shit. I'm so socially awkward that I prefer to sit there in silence for 40 minutes while you cut my hair. We don't have to talk about anything. Just cut it
Don't
right.
look me in
and
the
then,
eye.
You know, you can ask me, does it look good? I'll be like, this, and that. All right, cool. I'll just be alone with my thoughts, right? And then I had long hair over the last few years, so I've been going more so to hairdressers than barbers. And they are chatty, right? And they ask me about school and this and how's it going and And I'm like, I should work on my social skills, so I try to like, you know, just engage in conversation, whatever, right? This motherfucker had me talking the whole time.
He's a good barber.
Like, bro, I told him so much about us and our life and like where we are.
You're
and
like,
where we've
I get
been,
why people
and
enjoy
this person
this now.
and that person. No, that's the thing. He was so like nonchalant about it. But I think no, I'm not gonna give him too much credit because he's cut my hair before and we didn't have that much of a conversation. And
I was
he's
about to
been
say,
here
you've also
for
been
the
like
last,
hanging out with him more because he's there.
I was gonna say he's been here for the last 2 weeks and this is the most I've seen him talk, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just us. It's not necessarily like the adults or Betty or like, you know, elders and whatnot.
Elders.
So we were
Just
already
old
kind of having
souls.
casual conversation about whatever, this or that. But we were here. He was cutting my hair and he would just start off with hair shit. Like, oh, like, so yeah, so you want it like this part looks cool. Like if you do it like that, it could go like this and that. And like, it's because your hair is like this over here. But then up here, like, he was like, the top looks really good, like it's all long and this and whatever. And then I don't remember what we said, but it was some shit. He was like, nah, your shit looks good. Like, I was like, oh no. We were just talking about the hairstyle in general. And I was like, I've been doing this. Now I want to try that sort of thing, whatever. And I was like, oh, you know what I want to try? I want to try this shit. And then I showed him the Timothy Chalamet haircut from the fucking that movie.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I want to do that shit, but I want to save that shit for when I'm going a little more bald and I need to start doing my hair forward and it covers it up a bit, right? Work smart, not hard. And I was like, but also I feel like you need to be a little bit more of a buff guy. Like you need to be a little more chiseled looking to pull that off, right? And I was like, but I'm in the gym. I'm working on it, right? Maybe in the next year or so. And then he was like, nah, I mean, like, your hairline looks pretty good. Like, I don't think it's bad. He's like, not like my shit. And then he showed me his fucking tight-ass hairline. I was like, you young motherfucker. Like, no, yours is better than mine, right? And he was like, nah, I think your shit looks pretty good. Like, not like mine. I don't know. And I was like, yours isn't bad. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, is it moving already? Because he's 18. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, mine was moving when I was in high school. And he was like, it was? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, look. And then I started going on my phone. And I started showing him pictures. I was like, look, here's a picture of me when I was a freshman. See how that shit's round as fuck? And then I was like, and then look, here's a picture of me as a senior. Now it's all fucking squared. I was like, when I was a senior, it was kind of perfect. It was like kind of a perfect lineup sort of looking thing. And I was like, now I'm a little older. It's running back a little more. I used to have a widow's peak. That shit fell out. Anyways. Blah, 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 right? And then we were just talking about, like, hair and this and that. And I was like, yeah, this is my friend Desiree, you know? This is when we were freshmen. And then it just, like, fucking
progressed
one after another and this and that. And I was like, we were in band. And then I told him all about band. And I told him about fucking, here are old pictures and videos of Coco doing stupid shit. And these are the choir concerts that we used to go to. And I used to take videos of her and she would laugh. And then I was like, but I would wear hats all the time. And I was like, all the pictures I have from when I was a senior are like wrestling related. So I'm always wearing a hat. And then I showed him one picture. I was like, I used to wear a hat all the time because my hair was long. I was doing like an undercut sort of thing. So my hair on top of my head was always in my face when I was wrestling. And then I showed him a picture of me wrestling, and I was like, look, I have the headgear on and my hair's all fucked up. And I was like, so it was always all in my face. That's why I always have a hat on, because I didn't necessarily. You weren't technically allowed to put gel and shit in your hair when you wrestle.
That's
like
weird.
they get mad at you because it's like slippery or sticky or this or that. You know what I mean?
They're like, you're cheating.
And then
You should have had mom braid your hair back.
I was like, so I would always wear a hat, and I was like. And he was like, oh, well, at least you won that match. Because in that picture, it's when they're raising my hand and shit. I was like, oh, you don't even know. And then I showed him how I pinned that dude. It was one of my favorite pins. It was a cradle, right, from the outside, like a bow and arrow. But then I would hook his leg. The arm I had under the leg, that same leg, I would hook on the other leg and fucking stack him on top of himself. Sophia's trying to look like she knows what I'm talking about. She doesn't. If I show her the picture, she'll be like, no. If I show her the picture, she'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember you doing that. Everybody that's wrestled, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're
talking about. The point
is,
the dude's ass is up in the air, all exposed. Like, it's such a fucking fucked up position to be put in, right? But every now and then I could get people like that, and I would pin them. And I was like, look, this is how I pinned him. And then he was like, oh, that's fucked up. And I was like, look at everybody in the crowd. And you zoom into everybody in the crowd. Everybody in the crowd is like, it's fucking hilarious. And then I was like, and the conversation just carried. I was like, yeah, but I wear the hat all the time. And I was like, I had pictures at wrestling tournaments with the hat. I had pictures in class with my hat. With the Cowboys one, right? And I was like, I would wear it all the time. I was like, dude, I would wear it during wrestling practice. Like, we would wrestle for like 1 minute rounds. I would put it on. We'd start wrestling. It would fall off. The round would end. I'd get up, put it back on, wrestle again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, and then even during class, I would wear it. And he was like, oh, they didn't get mad at you? And he was like, none of your teachers told you nothing? And I was like, nah, I was cool with my teachers. Like, they were all cool about it. I was like, none of the teachers in the hallway would tell me anything either. And I was like, the only person that would tell me something was the principal, but he was the homie. So he wouldn't even tell me that much. He would just be like, and then I'd take it off, and he's like, and then one time he put it back on. Okay, you got it. He's like, yeah, he's like, this is the second time I catch you. You got to give it to me. I was like, when can I get it? He was like, after school. I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, but I was cool with him because his daughter was a friend of my friend. That friend was in the band, blah, blah. And I just like go through all this whole thing.
And he told him your life story.
With Sofia and fucking band and flags and this, and were you cool with Sofia? And I was like, it's because we were cool. And he was like, but would you actually like hang out with her? And I had to explain, it's like, it's not that we would hang out, but we were just around each other a lot. Like, we had rehearsal, we had practice, we had competitions. She had practice. I would help out with the competitions to carry equipment and this and that. And I was like, so we were always like around each other. And I was like, but before that, my older sister was in flags. We had practice. We would go to school together. She did this stupid shit on my first day of high school. I ignored her. Whatever. And like telling the whole fucking, because you know, I'm kind of a girl. You ever heard? The only thing a woman loves more than a story is a backstory. That's me. Anyways, I tell way too much. So then I tell the whole history of like me and Celeste, freshman, sophomore year, band flags. Everybody thought we were dating. Whatever. Or people thought we were dating. Whatever. Sofia comes in right when Celeste leaves. Celeste moved out of the house, so for a long time it was just me and Sofia. Me and Sofia, band flags, blah, blah, blah. People also thought we were dating. And then I told them about, I was like, people have literally come up to Sofia before where they're like, hey, so you know Oscar? All that type of shit. And then,
bro, that happened to me in 8th grade. I was in middle school and he was in high school, and I was like, what the heck?
Hold on. You'll tell that story right now. Those stories are funny. I don't even
remember how it went. I just remember like.
To me, it's crazy that it actually happened. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, people are weird. Anyways, I told him so much. I told him about wearing hats and fucking my ex and staying in El Paso and band.
He told him his star sign.
And fucking TikTok and the podcasts in California and everything, and like fucking everything.
He's an Aquarius.
And then afterwards, that was funny. Fuck you. Afterwards, I was like, this motherfucker had me talking the whole fucking time. Like,
he got it like that. He's smooth like that.
I was like, what the fuck? That was.
You're like, why am I talking so
But it's because I think he did a good job of also like contributing to the conversation instead of just like interviewing you. Because he would tell me shit like, also, were you and Sofia cool?
It was a conversation, not
talk
just
to her and shit.
Yeah.
He was like, would you actually talk to her? And I tell the whole story of like, well, it's because me and Sofia were cool, and then me and Celeste were in high school. Sofia was by herself, so me and Celeste got closer. Then Celeste moved away. Sofia was in high school. We got closer, but we had to do shit all the time. We always had rehearsal or this or that. Or like even after I graduated, I was still going to school locally and living at home. So I would drive her to fucking practice and drive her to school and this and that. And then whatever. And he was like, oh, it's because like I have some cousins, and they're just like you guys, girl, boy, girl. And like the boy, when he was in high school, his sister eventually got to high school with him, and he was like, but nah, he was kind of an asshole. He wouldn't talk to her, or like she would talk to him and be like, oh, leave me alone, like get away from me, like the fuck out of here, kind of thing, like a normal brother, right? And he was like, but that shit was like, I would tell him, I was like, bro, that's fucked up, like you like that's
That's
cool,
your
you have a
sister.
sibling.
Yeah.
He was like, you have a sibling in school to like talk to, like he's like, what if you're alone one day and like none of your friends are there, like
You can go with them.
don't you wish you could go hang out with
I
your
don't think
sibling
we
and they
ever
would
had
accept you?
lunch
He's like,
together,
you're being
though.
a dick. Meh, meh, meh. I don't think we
I
ever.
think
We never.
'cause
Hold on.
there was
I'm not
A
sure we
and
ever
B
had the
block.
same lunch period.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we
I
ever
don't
had the
think we
same lunch
did.
period. But either way, I think you would have sat with the fly girls. I would have sat with the drumline.
I would have,
Probably
but
would've.
if no, yeah, but I think because I was thinking, I was like, dang, because anytime there was like whatever for whatever reason, like I couldn't eat lunch with anyone. Actually, I don't think that ever happened. I was a real social butterfly. I talked to a lot of people. But anyways, I wonder, Oscar, scenario, hypothetical. If we had the same lunch block and like all my friends were gone that day for whatever reason, and I went up to you, I'd be like, hey, can I eat lunch with you? Because everyone left. Would you say yes, or would you be like, fuck off?
Yeah, all my friends knew you. Everybody would have been like, yeah, what's up?
That's
You know?
true. Yeah. I'm pretty sure one of your friends would have probably tried to like do some like hit on me in front of you though, and then you would have been like, stop being annoying.
Oh, that happened. Not
Oh yeah.
kind of. Oh,
Kind of.
we have lots of funny stories about high school and hitting on and stuff. But he would tell me shit too of like, yeah, cause this and that and whatever, and like, oh well, I used to blah 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 blah, and like it was really back and forth. But anyways, I was like, that sneaky motherfucker, like
You're like, I caught what you did. It was a little late, but I got there.
Anyways, let's tell some stories about hitting on in high school. There was one dude. It was fucking hilarious.
Which one?
There
I'm
was
trying to.
one
I'm
dude.
trying to remember
Hold on.
which one you're gonna say.
I'm sure I've told this story. There was one dude. He was 2 years younger than me, or a year younger than me. I think he was 2 years younger. I think he was your age.
A year. If it's what I'm thinking of, or keep going. I'll tell you.
Well, shut
Yeah,
up
sorry,
and
sorry.
find out, asshole. He was a year younger than me. His older sister was a year older than me, right? Eventually, at some point, through Instagram or this or that, I began having conversations with his older sister. Now, I personally wasn't really hitting on her. I was kind of just like not bored, but just like, whatever, like conversation, whatever. And then there was like conversations back and forth, right? And eventually he found out that I was having conversations with her, right? He was in the same section of the band as me. And so then he he was in the front line. Kind of in a casually sort of funny way, he like approached me about it during breakfast, where the whole drum line is having like lunch and shit, or having breakfast. Like we're all sitting at the same table. And he comes and he sits right next to me and he was like, hey, so I heard you've been talking to my sister. And I was like, she's been talking to me, right? I was super douchey, right? I was like, she's been talking to me. He was like, you shouldn't do that.
Wait.
And I was
I
like,
don't remember this.
I was like, she's been talking to me. And he was like, hey, maybe don't do that. And I was like,
Maybe.
right?
That's so funny.
But he wasn't like seriously trying to like start shit with me. It was kind of just like in a funny way,
like joking, haha.
addressing
but
the
like,
elephant in the
seriously,
room.
please stop.
No, more so addressing the elephant in the room of like,
Oh.
but kind of laughing at it too. Yeah. And so then it was just that sort of little like back and forth of like, hey, I heard you've been texting my sister. And I was like, your sister's been texting me, whatever. And then it was like, maybe you shouldn't do that. And I was like, maybe I will, whatever. And he was like, well, maybe I'm going to go text Sofia. And then I was like, you can fucking try. I was like, you can fucking try. I dare you. Like,
did he?
You're not. I was like, you're ugly. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that.
He thought it
though. That shit's always funny to me. If people ever talk about hitting on Sofia, I'll tell them straight up. I'm like, you're not pretty enough. She's not gonna like you. And so then,
and it's true.
He was like, maybe I'll go. He was like, maybe I'll go text Sofia. And I was like, you can fucking try, bro. And then it was just like, I will try. Like,
I will try.
Like fucking hilarious. Cause in that, it was me, him, and like 3 or 4 other people, and they were all generally part of the group, right? All of my friends started talking shit, and they were like, "Ooh, so and so, Oscar's gonna be at your house all the time now. And within the group, one of the dudes was his friend. And he introduced the rest of the group to that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that dude was cool, so he ended up hanging out with us. Everybody in the group was like, ooh, Oscar's gonna be at your house all the time now. And his friend immediately chimes in and goes, fucking your sister. And like completely just ripped
straight into it.
But it was funny because it was his friend that he had known for years and years, and we had just met a few months earlier. Yeah. He was like, fucking your sister. And then everybody started laughing. They were like, in her room, in your room, on the counter, in the bathroom. Like, everybody just started fucking tearing into him, and he was like, this isn't fun. Whatever.
Wasn't me.
It was fucking hilarious. Oh my God, shut up.
Wasn't me.
That type of shit, but it was fucking hilarious because he's the one that started it. Fucking your sister. And he like in his face, like
he
meant it was fucking hilarious.
That's funny. I thought you were gonna tell the time of the guy who's like in your friend group, who I didn't honestly, the funny thing is I didn't even know he was in your friend group until after the fact. But I had a class with him and he was a year older than me. And he was the one that I was like on the phone with that one time.
He was 2 years older than you.
Oh, he was 2 years older than me?
He was my age.
Oh. He was 2 years older than me, and I was on the phone with him one time, and Oscar was
What's
I
up,
thought
bro?
that was the story that you were going to say. I was like, no, he was... No. Like, if he wasn't your age, I know for sure he was older than me. Like, he wasn't in my grade. You know what I mean? I thought that's what you were going to say. So, when... There had been several times that people thought that, like, they didn't know we were brother and sister. They thought I was dating him, because, like, we were always together, you know, like before school, after school. I would always just like
from one day to the next, we would show up together. We'd be walking in the hall. We'd be this, we'd be that, just like conversing and shit.
And so that happened. But the crazy thing is, it started in 8th grade. So I was still in middle school and Oscar was in high school already. And there was this chick that I had never talked to before. And she came up to me. She's like, hey, like, and she just like started talking mad shit. Basically, she was like, are you dating like something? No. That was the only time I ever saw her. Like, I saw her a couple times in the hall, but after that, I never saw her again. Like, I don't know where she came from. I don't know where she went, but she was like, no, basically saying like, oh, like, stay away from him. Like, I'm like, he likes me. Like, just crazy chick shit. Like,
she's like, I'm gonna get at that motherfucker.
Basically. And I was like, and then it got to a point where I was like, I'm his sister. And then she was like, oh, and the switch up was crazy. She was like, all nice to me, like, oh my god, haha, sorry, I thought you were just like trying to get with him. It's because we're talking right now and this and that. And I was like, okay. And I told Oscar about it when I got home, and he was like, I have no fucking idea who you're talking about. And I was like, and then like she never approached me again.
I was about to ask right now, you know, potentially they're off the record, who the fuck were these people?
I have no idea. Usually they were people that I didn't know. I think they were just crazy. Like,
no, but like, I don't think you ever even told me their names to like see if I actually knew them.
Because I didn't know their names. Like, I would just tell you, oh, this girl in 8th grade, like, and I would describe how they looked, and you would be like, you know? But no, it was like crazy. I remember one time, it was my freshman year, right? I had just gotten into the flag team, right? With all the high schoolers. And like, we were what's called block. Like, we would just be like in rows and columns to stretch, right? And the two people beside me were 2 seniors. At the time, one of them was talking to Oscar, like they were like talking to each other or whatever. Oscar was a junior, she was a senior, I was a freshman, right? And he was talking to this chick, right? And so when I first got there, her and the 2 seniors I was sandwiched between, they were besties, right? So they were like being all nice to me because like I'm the little sister of like the guy that she's talking to, you know what I mean? Like, just like, you don't want to make a bad impression, you know? And so, like, they were all nice, whatever, I was all nice. And then things went south, right? I don't remember why. I don't know if he told me or not, but I don't remember it now. But they stopped talking. And so we're in, like, we would do dance lines, I guess. How do I explain it? Like, we would line up. It was across the floors. We would line up. They would play music. And then, like, if there was, like, 4 rows, one person from every row would, like, do, like, a little routine dance across the floor. And then the next people would go. And then the next people would go, right? But those rows and columns that we would like stretch in, it was just shrunken. Like those were the lines. And that's how we would go, right? So we were in that. And like the whole day, the whole like practice, They were talking mad shit to each other about you. But I was there, and they know that I was there. And I was getting so...
They give a fuck.
They didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm sure that knowing the type of people they are, like, they were doing it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's like, oh, yeah, she's going to, like, go and, like, tell Oscar. And, like, he's going to be like, I don't know what they thought was going to happen. But we were in the lines, right? Because we had just finished stretching. Again, they were like, oh, like, he's such a bitch. Blah, 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 whatever, right? And then we get into the compressed lines. And then she starts addressing me, like, directly. And she's like, yeah, your brother's, like, he's, like, not boyfriend material. Like, he's a bitch. That's why I decided to stop talking to him. Right? That was the consensus of what she said. And then I said...
Sofia, what I remember Sofia claiming to say was she's like, whatever, just because he dropped you and you're fucking butthurt about it, or like some bullshit about that. You said dropped you. That was like the fucking stinger of it. You know what I mean? You're like, just because he dropped you doesn't mean you got to come at me. You know what I mean? Like,
because she was
along that line.
Something along those lines. Because she was like saying how that's right. Because she was saying, she's like, oh yeah, like don't. She was telling me don't be like him, like, because like that's why we're not talking anymore, like. Because he's like really mean or whatever. And then that's when I was like, just because he dropped you doesn't mean that you have to be like a bitch to me about it. And then like after that, and
they were like,
honest, I gagged them because like out of the three of us, him, me, and my sister, like I was the nicest one publicly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was.
She had the best reputation for being a nice person.
I was known as the nice sibling from the three of us. Like, they were like, oh, yeah, she's the nicest one, you know? Because I reel them in.
Me and my older sister talk way more public shit.
Yeah, like, they're more fine with just being, like, their true selves right off the bat, you know? I like reeling them in. I'm like, oh, I'm so nice. Like, I give you compliments. Here, do you need a napkin? You got a little something there. Bitch. Haha, just kidding. You're a bad bitch is what I meant. And then I just keep going, you know? And so, like, this was still fairly, like, in the beginning, like, no one, like, they didn't know I talked as much shit. Yeah, they didn't know me that well. I was just nice. And then also, I was a freshman and they were seniors. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when I said that, they were like, oh. And it was funny. Because they're like, both of them, I had said that and they were like, and then you know what they stopped doing? They stopped talking shit the rest of the thing. Because I have my mama's voice and I said it really loud. So there were several people around that looked. They were like, ooh. Like, yeah. And the thing is, there were still some people on the team that knew my sister. You know what I mean? So, like, they were, like, cool with me by proxy type of thing.
My mom sent a picture this week in the group chat.
I sent a picture.
And she was like,
in the group chat.
Sophia sent a picture this week in the group chat.
Respect on my name.
With mom and food and like a table in a restaurant.
And this big back knew exactly where it was.
Shut up! You're ruining my story. You so gave it away. You're such an annoying asshole. Shut up. She sent the picture. She sent the picture in the group chat, and then they said whatever, and I didn't acknowledge what they said. I was just like, y'all at the Olive Garden? And then my mom was like, she was like, how did you know?
I said that actually.
Like, Sophia was like, how did you know?
Sophia
said everything.
I said everything.
I was like, this picture feels like family.
Like a dummy.
Stupid.
No, yeah. It was funny. My mom was really cold, so she had the plate of food on her because it was warm, and she looked funny. So I sent it in the group chat. And then that's when he was like, y'all at Olive Garden? And I was like, how'd you know? Just because I was waiting to call him a fatty. Because I thought it was going to be like, I recognize the tour of Italy or whatever. You know what I mean? And then I was going to be like, big.
I can smell it from here.
Yeah, like something like that. Which I'm sure that is how you knew, but like.
Nah, but the general decor,
ambiance.
You know?
But no, yeah,
the color,
that's funny.
The palette.
Bruh. There was this guy who was how old? Like in reference to you?
He was my age.
He was the same age as Oscar, right? And I remember one time, like, we were there, right? I was just walking. And we were always in flags practice. So, like, I was wearing leggings and, like, a tank top, right? Because, like, that's just what I wore to practice. And one time I was, like, there. I don't know what I was doing, but I was in the hall. He came up to me and he was like, yo, like, why do you have such a big camel toe? And I was a freshman. Yeah, I was a freshman. I had no idea what this was. I was like, huh? Like, I was so confused. I like made a face of confusion, but one of the other flag girls,
That's That's so not okay. He was
That's
a
not.
junior. She was a freshman. Go ahead.
Yeah. And one
This
of the
isn't
other
funny.
flag girls, did you hear who? One of the other flag girls, she had heard. And she was like, what, a year older than me? Yeah, she was a year ahead of me.
She was in between, yeah.
Yeah, she was a year ahead of me. And she, like, ripped into him. She was like, what the fuck are you looking at? Like, she's a freshman. And she, like, tore into this guy. And I was like, and I was just so confused because no one had ever, like, said that to me before. No one had mentioned it. I had no idea, like, what that was. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until, like, that was the day that I found out what that meant. And I had, like, and she came up to me. She's like, are you okay? Like, kind of like, yeah, because he said it in the hall in front of a bunch of people. And, like, I was like, yeah, but, like, what does that mean? Yeah, I was like, what is it? And she explained, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't, and I think it's funny because there's
all after the fact. Oh, fucking.
like, after, yeah, like, she already got all mad and she already calmed down. And then I was just like, oh, like, you know what I mean? And the thing is, the leggings I like to wear, they were, like, all print leggings. And, like, you can notoriously see, like, camel toe, like, it's more obvious when it's print rather if it's just, like, black. You know what I mean? Like, you could see it, but, like, it's more obvious to the eye.
Yeah,
it's a thing. Yeah, and so, like, after that, like, it was one of those things where, like, I didn't know. It's kind of like a thing you didn't know that was something you could be insecure about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, like, had become there. And then after that, I would stop wearing, like, my print leggings. So I don't know if you remember, I would always wear print leggings. And then it kind of, like, switched up to just black or, like, gray, like, just solid colors.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And then that was one of the things that happened there.
I think this is the type of topic or story where, like, now you can, I think it's reasonable for you to be able to kind of look back and just laugh it off.
Laugh at it, yeah.
But in the current, political climate, I don't know if people are going to get mad at us for laughing, but.
No, I laugh. Like,
whatever, kind of water under the bridge, like it happened. Whatever.
It is
things
what it
happen.
Is, thing.
Life goes on, right? So here's what I think is kind of the interesting or funny-ish part of that. The girl that jumped in and defended her was my ex.
Yeah.
And we were, like, on no terms at all.
Yeah,
like,
they were,
I
like,
didn't even acknowledge she existed.
But she's got me
But
back.
she was real friendly with, like, Sofia and my other sister. So it's kind of like, even in that situation where despite all that, she's like, what the fuck?
And there's times, because there was times where Oscar would tell me about this one guy specifically who had said that. He was like, he's not, like, a good guy, you know? And I was never interested, and let me clarify, I was never interested in him like that, but I think Oscar was coming from a place of, like, yeah, but that's now how he's thinking about it, you know what I mean? And so, like, there was a lot of times where I would get, like, really annoyed at him, specifically with that guy, because I'm like, he's just a friend, and even then, he's, like, not even, like, my best friend. Like, why are you always on my ass about it? Like, one time he had invited me to a swimming pool party, and Oscar got...
And he didn't invite...
Here's why you got upset?
Yes, no. Shut up. I can't believe you're making me talk about this. We're so over time. He was a real, like, where's my hug at type of motherfucker.
Guy,
right?
He was. Yeah.
And so Sofia didn't understand that.
I didn't.
Sofia didn't know that. He was my age. I had known him for years.
Yeah, he did.
I knew what type of guy he was.
He did.
Here's the thing. I'm pretty good at reading people.
He is.
And just knowing, like, I can, like, kind of see right through him. So I knew that. He was always the, like, where's my hug at? Friendly kind of convo. Never really super explicitly, blatantly hitting on you until he was, right? Real friendly, kind of just cool with everyone type of bullshit, right? Here was the other thing. He was kind of friendly with me. And in certain ways, in other areas, he was pretty cool. Like, we had similar taste in music, this, that, whatever. He was part of the band. But there was a whole situation. He was friends with some dude that I wasn't friends with. He would, like, invite all of us to go hang out. And I was like, I'm not going, bro. Like, I don't fuck with so-and-so. Like,
yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
Thanks, but no thanks, right? This is the type of motherfucker he is. When he invited Sofia to that fucking pool party, he invited all of the, like, hot girls of the flag team. First of all, including Sofia, who's 2 years younger than him.
Thank you.
Including his little friends that I wasn't cool with. And it was at a time where he was still regularly trying to invite me to shit. But all of a sudden, for this one particular occasion, he's not mentioning anything to me. All of a sudden, he's not friendly with me. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, you just don't want to see me. You just don't want me to see you hitting on my sister. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. I know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
The thing is,
like,
Oscar didn't explain all of this at the time. He just told me, he's like, no, you're not allowed to go. And I was like, fuck you. What do you mean I'm not allowed to go? And he's like,
I didn't say
no.
it like that. There's no way I said it like that.
At some point, you said those exact words.
I didn't say not allowed. Not allowed?
Yes, you said that at some point. I remember because I was pissed off. I was like, who the fuck are you to tell me what I am and not allowed to do? I was so annoyed. And he was like, no. And then he tried to explain it, but like he was so like heated and he wasn't using his words correctly because we were arguing. And he was like, no, like he doesn't want anything good. I think you said something along those lines. Like he doesn't want anything good. Like he's not there because you're his friend. He's not inviting you there because he thinks you guys are such good friends or whatever. And then I was like, yeah, but like, and then I had friends on the flag team that were invited. The hot girls, apparently. That were invited. I was like, but so-and-so and so-and-so's like... going. And I was like, but so-and-so's going, like, they're my friends. Like, I'll hang out with them. I'm not going just to hang out with, like, what's his face? Like, I'm going to hang out with my friends. And then Oscar was, like, super against it. And I remember I was so upset because it was kind of the first time that, like the only things that I had been invited to were quinceañeras. Because, like, everyone was turning 15. So everyone was having their quince, right?
Yeah.
But, like, that was the first time I was ever invited to something, like, other than a quinceañera. So I was like so excited. I was like, like this is like a high school part. Like this is, you know what I mean? And he just shit all over my parade. And I remember he was like, every time he would bring up an argument, like, you never listen to me, you never whatever. Because I ended up not going. Because I was so mad at him. But I was like, if he feels so strongly about it, like I don't want. Because it kind of like, not that I was put in a position where it was like Oscar or the other dude. But, like, it felt like it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, because I knew Oscar would feel some type of way if I did end up going, you know? And so he said that. And then I remember at some point he brought up, you're like, you're going to the pool party anyways. I was like, no, I'm not, because you don't want me to go, asshole. I do, like, take into account to what you say. I care about what you say. Because he was saying, like, I never, like, listen to what he says or, like, care about his opinion. I was like, because I do care about your opinion. Takes my advice. Or take your advice. Like, I do take your advice and care about your opinion and whatever. And he was like, you're not. I was like, no. And then you were like, oh. I remember I was so annoyed.
Up until that point. No, it was the type of shit where, like, in my head, it was like, I'm trying to look out for you.
And I'm not letting
you. And you are not standing by me.
Yeah.
Whether you understand it or not, whether you agree with it or not, you need to have a certain amount of faith that I am trying to look out for you. It's not about me. It's about you and what I can do for you.
And I did.
So you need to fucking stand by me with that shit.
I did.
And I was like, you never. No, on that occasion. But I was like, you never fucking. Every time I try and look out for you, you point the finger back at me like we're not on the same fucking team. You know what I mean? And that was the kind of how I felt.
The
she
part of the issue. I didn't go. No, yeah.
Anyways. And then one time, real quick, I don't know if we've told the story, but then another time, that motherfucker was trying to flirt with her in the hallways, but he was doing it in his stupid nice guy way where he was just having like a friendly conversation, but he would like stand, like position himself relative to them a certain way and kind of like playfully flirt. And I saw him, and it was I'm pretty sure it was after all of this, like after all of these different things that happened. And I saw him, and in the middle of the hallway, loud as fuck, I was like, I see you, and I said his name. And then he immediately stopped talking and like looked at me, and Sofia was standing right there, and everybody in the hallway like, what? And I was like, I see you. I see what you're doing. You're not slick. I know what the fuck is going on, bro. Stop playing. Get the fuck away from my... Yeah. No, I didn't say get the fuck away from my sister.
You didn't say get away.
But I said it like that, where I was like, I see you. I see what you're doing. You're not slick. You're not slick. You're not fooling anybody, bro. Some shit like that. Anyway, Sofia sucks because she's not prepared. I'm going to finish the story real quick. It's just going to be my face. I called him out like that. I was like, you're not slick. I know what's happening. And just fucking like kind of put him on blast in front of everybody. And then I just walked away cooler than the motherfucker, right? And everybody was like, he sees you. And then after that, nobody wanted to talk to Sofia. No, guys. People were real friendly with Sofia until that happened. And nobody wanted to talk to her anymore. Which, the problem is, in my brain, it wasn't until after I graduated and after I left that people started being friendly with her again. She's making me tell you all of this. Here's the thing. This is the mistake that I made. In my brain, that happened between me and him. And that was it. You know what I mean? I didn't intentionally do it in front of everyone so that everyone could see. I was doing it. It was so that everyone could see, but not because it concerned everyone, but because it concerned him. Where I'm like, I'm going to expose you to everyone else. Not, I'm going to let everyone know what the fuck how I feel about this. You know what I mean? It was the other way around. It wasn't the other way around, but it wasn't in that same direction. It was like, I'm not only exposing you, I'm not only addressing it directly with you, but I'm addressing it in a way where like everybody sees you for what you are, kind of thing, right?
Okay, so let me report again. Yes! After that, no guys would come up to me. Literally, no guys. No guys. Which, you know what? Fine, whatever. If you're gonna be a bitch and a pussy, like, I don't need you in my life anyways, but I was so annoyed.
If you're scared of my brother, you can't date me anyways.
A little bit, yeah. And it literally wasn't until Oscar graduated, like, and even then, immediately after he graduated, like, even then, like, it wasn't until, like, my senior year that guys, like, would, like, come up to me again after that. You know what I mean? Or, like, the only time when Oscar was still there that they would, like, talk to me is if we were in class and Oscar was not, there was no way he was gonna, like, jump out anywhere. You know what I mean? And, like, it was so annoying because even like there had been times which I don't think I've told you this before actually, where I was like talking to a guy, whatever, but they were like, if they were like in the band team or in the band and we were there and we would be talking like in the halls, but Oscar would come help out, like load the equipment for like the games and competitions and stuff. So Oscar would start walking through the halls and he would dip. And I'd be like, what the fuck?
He would literally run and hide?
Like, not run and hide. Like,
who the fuck was that?
Not so obvious, but like, kind of just like.
But like.
Yeah. And I was just like, this guy?
Who the fuck was that?
No, I don't know.
Nah, tell me.
I don't know if you know him. His name.
Then for sure tell me.
No, we're not keeping this in the video though.
No, yeah. Cool.
No, his name was.
I remember that dude existed, but no, I wouldn't recognize his face if you showed me.
Yeah. What's it called?
That's hilarious. So he was a little bitch, is what I'm hearing. Anyways.
Yeah, and then I thought, well, yeah. There's
Okay,
honestly no other way to say that.
Up.
Like he really
We're
is.
so over time. Shut up, Sofia. Do the outro. That's it for today, guys. Thank you, Sofia.
Hey, shut up! I'm doing the outro. That's it for today, guys. If you want to hear some more stories, we got plenty of them from high school, and
beyond.
No, not really beyond. We stopped doing stuff after we graduated because we're boring. Just kidding, that's not true. But like, comment, and subscribe. We hope you liked it, and see you next week. Oscar, wave bye. Okay, cool.